What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of The Impact, the setup for UGP episode. But this time, RMC and I are going to start by breaking down what's happened in the past just ever so slightly, because it's important that we acknowledge that with UGP coming up, Tier 2 has effectively ended for this split, RMC.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's why we took a break in between here when we normally do the impact, because all the teams took a little bit of a break between the tier 2s and the tier 1s. But that unfortunately meant that we didn't quite finish off. So we'll do it here. There were the semifinals and the finals here, Dia, in EGL TV. And I think there were some interesting results which came out. Most surprisingly was AOE, I think, making it to the grand finals did catch some of the analysts by surprise here. But to me, it just encapsulates amateur. This is amateur in a nutshell. Anyone on any given day can really pop off.
To see AOE be able to reach such heights was really nice. Wildcard Red did, of course, end up taking the win in the finals, which was really good for them as well. People talked about the three-peat for Wildcard Red, and while it may not have been celebrated to the full extent on social media,
pathetic.
This is a really big thing for them, especially going into the upcoming UGP that will be starting probably around the time you're watching this.
Small twist, because the other tier 2 tournaments, only the winner qualifies. But here in EGL, two teams get to qualify out. And because Wildcard Red already qualified, we have AOE in second place, as well as the winner of the third place match, 100 Thieves Nyx, who they did stream on the Academy channel there, rightfully getting there all the way through, even with the replacement of their support, Busio, moving up to the Academy team. And instead, we had Gweiss coming in.
Yeah, 100 Thieves, actually a really exciting matchup. I'm not going to tell you to go back and watch because it was a while ago. I think it's time for us to start looking forward as well, RMC, because those rosters that qualified didn't just qualify by chance, right? They made it to the very top, and now they get to fight against bigger and better competition in Tier 1.
Yeah, and in the one and only Tier 1 this split here, the Unified Grand Prix Summer, there are going to be the bottom 4 Academy teams coming down to face off the remainder of the amateur teams based on their points. And seeding was done by points as well, so you participated in all three tournaments, all the three of the Tier 2 tournaments, but didn't quite qualify here. You did rack up quite a few points, so naturally, first to fourth seed, according to seeding, will be given to the Academy teams. And that's given us some interesting matchups in that first round, including potentially close matches like AOE Randoms versus Maryville and Resolve versus TSM Amateur.
I'm actually really excited for the Randoms versus Maryville match because I feel like Maryville has been on shaky ground recently while the Randoms are picking up speed. On the other side of that bracket, they do have TSM Academy versus OQ, which I don't think will be nearly as close. Forgive me for saying. I did look at that and go, oh, God.
You're a victim.
Here we go.
They're saying OQ beat Resolve.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And we'll talk a little bit about their power later, but we've got plenty of strong matchups there. I think CLG Academy versus Wildcard Black could be a really exciting matchup as well. You were talking about Wildcard Black as a potential team to keep on the lookout.
Yeah, I'm personally riding high on Wildcard Black here. They did look really good when I got to see them last week in a standalone tournament. Granted, it's not exactly Proving Grounds, but there were Proving Ground teams in it, and they did look rather good. So I'm riding a little bit high right now on what I'm seeing from them. But part of me kind of hopes CLG Academy makes it to the next round, where they might then face off against Zeus Gaming, because there's some juicy stories there, juicy potential revenge matchup with Tuesday and Wrigley facing off their former team.
I want to poke a little bit of fun at you for just assuming that Zeus is going to win that, but instead of doing that, I'm going to have us talk about your power rankings, where we can talk about all of your assumptions at the same time, because Zeus being above Dignitas Mirage is not the only thing that we're talking about here. We've got all 16 teams in UGP ranked in order, and it's no surprise to me, at the very least, that the Academy teams are ranked on top. It's how they got here.
First of all, I'd like to thank Smax and Cubby for taking out the time to talk to me about the Academy teams as the Academy color casters. That's it. This is not their power rankings, so these are my
Smax and
power
Cubby
rankings.
are not affiliated with these power rankings.
Yeah, I don't know if they want to be affiliated with this necessarily. So let's start with the fourth place Academy team. You'll notice that, the first four, obviously, the Academy teams, and for good reasons. I think the Academy teams, the Academy scene in general, has really picked up. But CLG Academy, the weakest academy team, at least in the standings here. I'm going to caveat them because while
Okay.
I do think on average they are still slightly better than EGP Prodigies, than TSM Amateur, than Zeus, I think they can be taken down. And it is a very real possibility against those teams that CLG Academy might drop games. Do I think they'll get eliminated here in the T1 in the Unified Grand Prix? No. But I do think they might at some point get knocked down to the losers bracket by an amateur team.
I'm surprised that you have Zeus and then immediately followed by Maryville. I don't really feel like those two are that close. We talked about Maryville struggling a little bit, and I feel like Zeus can be separated by a few teams. What's the distinction there?
Because when I'm looking through 9 to 16 right now, Wildcard Gaming Black, that's my hot take of the split. I know that a lot of teams will have them lower down. After all, they didn't make EGL at all. But I do think they improved a lot. Not enough for me to really put them against teams which have firmly established themselves, made playoffs multiple times yet, though my fingers are crossed. 10th, Resolve has been on an even bigger slide than Zeus.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
So, I mean, Supernova, AOE randoms, Supernova
AOE
right now.
randoms below Supernova though? Like, what? AOE randoms could be up there, man.
So AOE randoms, I would love to talk about them. But first, Supernova, let me explain why Supernova is down there. They're a very strong middle of the pack team. I feel like they're a gatekeeping team. If you can beat Supernova, you can make playoffs. If you can't beat Supernova, then you can't make playoffs. With AOE randoms, it's more that they're inconsistent, wildly inconsistent. And when you change their top and support, Atheridus, I am personally not very familiar with this player. I think the last time I heard of them was back in 2019 as a
Ages
jungler
ago.
for Dramatic Gaming. Yeah, so I don't know much about them here, and that worries me. The support position change as well. Fizzy coming in for Paukas here. That is another one that worries me a little bit because Paukas was a vocal voice on the team. And while Fizzy is another sort of strong voice, another shot caller, he's not Paukas.
Nobody can be Paukas. I think these are really well thought out, though. Like, and especially with being able to talk to you about it. I understand where you're coming from on a lot of them. Although, of course, you know, I would have put my random boys higher. I understand how roster shifts, you know, can make things iffy.
Once they prove themselves, I'll be happy to move them up. And maybe this change is a change for the better here. But unfortunately, as of right now, I don't have enough information to put them further up.
It's something to keep our eyes on, and it's going to be a really sort of tense tournament as well, because watching losers bracket matches has this sort of tension to it that you don't just get in the regular season. I'm going to be watching the AOE Randoms Maryville University game, and I'll be watching all of the games, I assume, alongside you. Since we've got a lot to cover as they're all being broadcast on the same day by Unified, you guys have got to get your content goggles on. Get ready for a great week of Tier 1 now as we're moving up in the world. Now, RMC, power rankings, they are all well and good. We can talk about relative strength for as long as we want. I've got mine, but I want to know what your upset for this week is, because upsets abound in amateur.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think I've got 2 in mind, but I'll go with my bigger hot take here. I said my hot take in the rankings was Wildcard Gaming Black. Here's my hot take. They beat CLG Academy. They come out of the hyperbolic time chamber. They're ready to go. CLG Academy didn't prep properly, didn't know what's going to hit them, and they come out swinging, take a quick win.
That's actually a spooky one. I've got a couple cooking. Obviously, the big one in my corner is OQ beats TSM Academy, but we all know that's impossible. If it does happen, I called it, but it's pretty unlikely. I'd say the other one to look out for is Zeus versus Dignitas Mirage. I think that Zeus are an extremely powerful roster, but Dignitas Mirage are hovering just below strong, and I think that if a few things click into place macro-wise, they could take a game, 2 games off Zeus, and that's all it takes to put Zeus into the fucking... I'm such a piece of garbage. I can't come up with a good hot take. I can't do it with a straight face.
Then don't.
My actual hot take is that AOE Randoms, despite the roster changes and everything, could take down Maryville.
That doggone deer, he done it again. All he had to do was give us a spicy take. We even gave him a second try. Don't know why he said what he said. AOE Esports already took Maryville's money. Guess he needs to see the randoms take their meal swipes too. That's fine.
I've seen the randoms have the high highs, and I know that the roster changes have shaken your faith in them a little bit, RMC, but my faith remains unwavered. And Maryville, they've been on shaky ground recently. I'd tune into that one to see if Maryville can take them on.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, you know what? Yeah, I'm 100% with you. My heart's with you there. I am hoping that upset might happen, but we've been through this before. My head tells me Maryville.
You know what? I'll take the heart. I'll take the heart. The
Okay,
brain will follow
with you, yeah.
later. You will see the results and everything will become clear. But having predicted that, having sent you off with matches to watch, guys, I think it's time for me and RMC to sit back and watch the chaos for this week, as we're going to get UGP kicking off, and it's going to be nothing short of excitement. We'll be back on the other side to break it all down.